Hi, and welcome to All Things Cozy with Gillian,
And Matt.
a bi weekly podcast about everything warm, soft, and comforting. This week, we're polishing our monocles and breaking out our finest outfits for an afternoon at the opera to enjoy Philip Glass's celebrated Akhnaten at the LA Opera. But before we take our seats and explore the coziness of the opera's rich world, let's check in with Cozy in the News. I'll kick it off with a story that's almost impossible to believe. Travelers in Australia's Hobart Airport were treated to an adorable surprise when a passenger spotted a possum hiding in one of the gift shops. Of course, the loose animal ending up where it shouldn't be is no big news. But what made this situation special is where the possum took shelter on a tucked away shelf filled with kangaroo and Tasmanian devil stuffed toys. Talk about an adorable scene. Whether the possum intended to blend in or believed they had found fellow furry friends is anyone's guess. But what is clear, they were a hit with airport workers. After the possum was safely removed, one of the staffers told some outlets, "We'll have a little shrine to the possum. There will be a nice little photo once it gets a name, and we will put a nice little post in front of the store to make sure it's remembered." Social media isn't playing dead with the story either. The cute video of the possum peering out of their hidey spot at the stuffies quickly went viral. And it's a really adorable video. You should check it out.
I did. It's really cute. I mean, it looks like it's trying to blend in with the other stuffed animals.
Yes.
It's very, very adorable.
It's really sweet. And I do wonder what it was thinking, if it wanted to just stay safe from all the hustle and bustle, or if it really thought that it found its pack, so to speak.
It definitely was feeling more secure there for whatever
Mhm.
reason, but I feel like other animals get more often freaked out at the idea of like another animal being near it. I don't think it recognized the stuffed animals as animals. It was just like, oh, here's a nice soft area where I can hang out and hopefully things will quiet down because airports are so loud and busy. I'm sure it was really trying to avoid all that hustle bustle, as you said.
You really got into the possum's mind. That makes sense. And I wanna see the shrine to the possum once they get it together.
Yeah, shrine. I'm really fascinated to see what that turns out into. Like, of course we'll make a shrine. It's like, okay.
Yeah, right. And the staffer kept saying, "Nice little shrine, nice little photo." So, I thought it was really cute.
We can rest assured it will be nice and it will be little.
Yes. What's in your news inbox this week?
Well, this news story is sure to start up cozy vibes and never stop. Please welcome to the stage the Rolling Scones. Today.com reports that this band of 8 seniors in the Chicago burbs are members of a cooking club at the Sunrise of Crystal Lake retirement community. Every Saturday, they jam together in the kitchen to make comfort foods like stews, pizza, and salads, all prepared with a focus on good nutrition. One of the crew, Nancy Reich, 90, says, I get to feel like I'm being creative again because when my husband got sick, I had to walk past my sewing room and leave all the projects I had done and cook for him and take care of him. This creative need that I have is being fulfilled by creating salads. The conditions that older folks can develop often demand dietary changes, so the Plateful 8 add foods like raspberries, apparently good for your eyes, and orange peppers, rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. The residents who have dietary restrictions report that the program has helped them enjoy eating again, and more importantly, form a like minded community that has sympathy for the deviled egg. I also want to shout out to Today.com food reporter Joseph Lamore, who wrote this article that's listed in our show notes and really went to town with the Rolling Stones puns. We love puns here at All Things Cozy. Joseph, you did a great job with section headers like paint it green and she's a rainbow, that salad over there.
It's really adorable. I think this might be the top cozy news story of the year so far. And this article comes complete with really sweet photos of the ladies cooking and
Yes.
even throwback photos of them in their
Hmm.
kitchens, which is really lovely to see.
Yeah. To me, this is quintessential cozy news, which is really local, really small, but very high in human interest and reminds you that there's all these cute things that are pro-social and positive that are happening all around us all the time that don't get spotlights on them. And so I'm really happy that stories like this exist. I am a sucker for this style of seniors cooking. Like, I did the Nonas,
Yes, I was just
um,
thinking about no-nos.
yeah, a long time ago. I think I did another story like this somewhere else. I think this is my 3rd version of this, and I'll never stop, because once you start me up, I'll never stop.
Oh, love it.
Sharing senior cooking news stories. Yeah, very cozy, and again, like I said, just a really nice reminder that people are staying healthy and active even as they age.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that you're never too old to revive a hobby. And we
Absolutely.
we always talk about how hobbies are so important to coziness and well-being, and great find, Matt. You really nailed it with this one.
Thank you.
Well, now that we're caught up on the cozy news, let's address the phantom in the room, Timothy Chalamet's recent dig at opera, in which he said, along with ballet, that no one cares about it anymore. And we can only assume he still hasn't gotten over ATC stealing the spotlight from the Golden Globes by airing the Cozy Awards the same day. And I can only guess that when he caught wind of our upcoming opera episode, he lashed out in public. We don't know what sweet revenge he'll try next, but we won't let him tarnish our lovely visit to see Akhnaten at the LA Opera on a beautiful Sunday in March. Akhnaten, for those not familiar, was composed by the iconic Philip Glass and made its debut in 1984. It tells the rise and fall of Pharaoh Amenhotep IV, who becomes pharaoh after the death of his father Amenhotep III. In Act 1, we see the weighing of the heart ceremony for the afterlife and Amenhotep's IV's coronation, which ends with him changing his name to Akhenaten and declaring his intent to establish a monolithic religion in worship of the sun disk Aten. In Act 2, Akhnaten vigorously implements his religion, banishing priests who continue practicing the old ways. Although not everyone is happy with his changes, he bulldozes ahead with his wife Nefertiti by his side. The act ends with Akhenaten creating a new city and offering prayer to his sun god. Act 3 shows a different Akhenaten. Instead of the bold, busy pharaoh of earlier acts, we see an isolated Akhenaten alongside Nefertiti and his 6 daughters. The city is no longer willing to tolerate his imposed religion, and he is killed by a group of protesters. The opera then comes full circle with the coronation of a new pharaoh, Tutankhamun, and a reunification of Akhenaten, his queen mother Tai, and his wife Nefertiti in the afterlife. Amid all the sweeping change, the story jumps to the present day, where a professor relays the historical events to a group of students. This reflects the opera itself, which Anthony Roth Costanzo, who starred as Akhenaten in another production, explained. It's a representation of fantasies about ancient Egypt mixed with images inspired by real ancient artifacts. So what you see is a creative depiction of history. This critically acclaimed production was a home run for a first opera, and we're just as enamored with the tradition of the art form as with the production itself. We also left the show with many thoughts on this question: is opera cozy? So, with that, let's swing from the chandelier in today's discussion. And Matt, I'll kick it off with, what has your relationship with opera been like up to now? Did you attend any operas before our March 8th outing? Do you have any favorite movie adaptations of operas? It can be anything.
Does the Phantom of the Opera count? Because that was pretty much my only experience with the opera.
It's adjacent. It's another.
It's about opera.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I've always felt like opera was maybe a little inaccessible for me because of the language barriers, or because it does involve like prior knowledge of what you're going into a lot of the time in terms of either the world of the music or the plot of what's happening. And I was really happy to see how well the LA Opera prepares you for going into the show, because they give you all the reading and materials ahead of time so that you understand what's happening, because Akhenaten has a lot of English in it for an opera, but even so, most of it is not in English. And so there's that language barrier there that always made me feel like I didn't have access to it. Then now, having gone, I realized, oh, it's more accessible than I thought it was. And of course, music is a universal language, so you can always just enjoy the beauty of the music. But definitely, Phantom of the Opera was a big one for me. I love that musical. That was my first musical that I went to, like, in a real way in Chicago. But I also think about the Looney Tunes cartoon, What's Opera Doc? Have you seen this one, Jillian? It's
No, I
where
haven't.
Elmer Fudd is hunting wabbit to Wagner operas. He's like, "Kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit." Anyway, and there's like a really it actually has a dark ending,
Oh,
and yeah, it's a really great short. It's so vibrant and lively, and I'll put a link to it in our show notes if you wanna watch it, listeners. But again, it depicts opera as this sort of like in its send up of it and kind of poking fun at the seriousness and outrageousness of it as something a little bit out of reach. And so when it depicts it for kids, it is bringing that music to kids that is classical into being something more recognizable for a child audience in that case. But still, for whatever reason, it felt like a little alien to me. And so this was really my first time going to the opera. It was very exciting.
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. What makes the LA Opera so great is all of the accessible materials, because
Hmm.
even on top of giving us all the information on the acts and really laying it out for us, they give us a lot of tips on what to wear. And we can get into that a little bit later, but they have all these different sections on their website and also in emails they send to you ahead of the show, of like what to expect, answering any questions that you might have. And so they assume that the people who are going aren't going on a regular basis, which is when you think of opera, you think of really rich people going
Hmm.
all the time. And I'm sure there are those people there or big super fans, but they also are trying to attract a group of people who might want to try opera like ourselves for the first time. And you want to feel like they're coming from a place of comfort. I think the LA Opera does a really great job. Whoever is on their marketing team or writes their materials deserves a raise, because also the way they word it, it's not condescending. They talk to you in a really kind and inviting manner, and it stuck out to me leading up to the show. So I'm glad that you brought that up. As for me, I did go to the opera once when I was in college at the Met, and an acquaintance had a free ticket. And you know, I love free anything, Matt. So of course I'm not going to pass up a ticket to go. And I don't remember anything about it. So that's why it felt like going to this opera was my first time. And I even forgot that I went until I was compiling the notes from the show. And we sat in the balcony, which was really special. But that's all I remember about it. Like, oh, cool, I'm sitting from a balcony. And that was it. I don't remember what it was. I was just too young and ignorant to appreciate it. So I'm glad I got a second chance with you.
Yes, me too. And this was a wonderful birthday gift that Jillian got me, this outing experience.
Yeah, from the tea rooms to the opera. I mean, we're
Jillian's
doing that.
trying to culture me. She's trying her best. She's taking me to tea. She's taking me to the opera. She's doing the Lord's work, trying to bring
Yeah,
some culture into my life.
I'm getting you ready for the debutante ball, apparently. Can't really make that connection. Wow. Yeah, what's next you're gonna be?
The ballet for sure.
Oh, yeah. The LA Opera is housed at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, and I personally had never been there, and I don't even know what to expect when going to an opera house. So, Matt, how did your expectations of what this space is going to be like match up with reality?
So when I saw Phantom of the Opera as a kid in the 90s, I saw it at Chicago's Civic Opera House, which is home to Chicago's Lyric Opera Company. It was built in 1929, and it's the United States' second largest opera house. And it's really interesting. It always makes it on the architectural tour if you do that on the river because it looks like a huge chair. You can't miss it. And it's very art deco and grand, which I've since associated with the opera, like gilded, ornate sort of looking buildings and theaters. So I wasn't necessarily prepared for the deluge of mid-century modern that's coming from LA's Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. The interiors are truly stunning, and it has this fun play between new and old with these massive crystal chandeliers hanging in this grand open lobby of mirrors, glass, brass. It's amazing to me that people aren't constantly tumbling and falling over in this
Right.
thing. It makes you dizzy. It has like an MC Escher-esque staircase going through the center of it that's up against a mirror, so it looks like just endless stairs going in every direction. It really is quite a threat to people who might have some vertigo or if they get dizzy at all. Like I was holding on for dear life on that railing. And the theater itself isn't, as I said, gilded or ornate. It's very clean and functional. It has a really unique mid-century look to it that is really beautiful. It's simple and stunning.
Yeah, I was as equally as impressed. The green carpet too.
Hmm.
was also really beautiful, and I agree with you on the mirrors, especially wearing low heels. I don't think I wore too high of a heel, but that was definitely difficult, especially having a little tiny purse that I couldn't fit my phone in, so I just felt like I really was walking a tightrope, and Matt was, of course, the gentleman and held my phone when needed. So it's good to have, obviously, your best friend there with you at the opera, and then I don't know, the grandness of the space, even though you said, like, it wasn't ornate, but it definitely had vibes of something special happens here, and the people showed up to reflect that. Of course, there were some really awesome outfits that really impressive, big dresses, really smart suits, and then we also saw a cattail.
Yeah, there was some Egyptian cosplay happening, like including one person who had like cat ears and a tail with an Egyptian themed outfit.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a lot of everything and anything. And that's actually just the case in Los Angeles, where you go to any event here and you will see every style imaginable, from casual to the most formal thing in your life. So this was no exception. Like everyone had a different memo coming into the opera, and that's just something I've gotten used to here in Los Angeles, where you can't tell people what to do here. They're just gonna do what they want to do.
To be fair, the dress code of from the LA Opera and the recommendations are like, "Just show up however you feel comfortable," but, yeah, there were some outfits where I'm like, maybe a little more pep, but and then I think it was funny because when we didn't see the person with the cat tail, the front of them, so we didn't know that it was an Egyptian.
Hmm.
Because you never know in Los Angeles, like, could've just been someone wearing a tail, like, you don't know,
Yeah,
but it
wouldn't
wasn't
be the
that.
first time.
And, hey, I love a tail.
She probably was at CatCon too when we were there.
Yeah. The only thing that really threw me off was the seating, 'cause I knew that we were really high up. I just didn't anticipate how it would feel. Because when you're sitting that high up is a little bit dizzying and,
Truly
we
the
were
nosebleeds, like,
the
yeah.
nosebleeds.
Which actually, I will say though, I didn't feel like you still have a great view of the stage. Like, they aren't bad seats at all. Like, it's a great house. And then that's actually because of the steepness, where, like, the seats are so leveled in a steep way that everyone has a clear view of the stage, unless you have someone in front of you, like I did, who kept leaning forward, intently looking down. It's like, I'm so happy that you're engaged in it and everything, but it took everything in my power to not say anything, because she was blocking like a fourth of the stage a lot of the time until she finally relaxed and sat back, because it's designed so that we can all sit back and see the stage. But if one person's leaning forward, it kind of ruins what the theater is designed to do.
And that was an element of surprise for me too in terms of expectations, because I thought everyone was gonna be super buttoned up and, like, on their best behavior, and as we learned, Matt, that's not always the case, which maybe
No,
makes opera more accessible.
it's 2026. There's bad audience behavior everywhere, whether you're going to the movies or apparently the opera. For the most part, everyone was very respectful and attentive. But there was like some guy at the very beginning of the show who had to get escorted out. We just heard some
That's
ruckus and then this guy
the fight at
getting
the
taken out of
opera.
the seat. So I don't know what was happening there that got him removed, but I'm glad he got removed immediately. So that wasn't a problem during the actual show. And then there was also a woman like a couple rows ahead of us who had her phone out.
Yeah.
That's bad enough, but, like, the worst part was that she was taking videos of the lead's nude scenes, and so, apparently, we've got some dirty dogs going to the opera these days, not only disobeying the rules around phone use, like photography and filming, but doing it during the most vulnerable time for this actor. I thought that was extremely shockingly rude.
Yeah, there was a lot of shocking stuff to go around, and that's why I'm glad, we had each other and we don't get an opportunity to get dressed up very often, so we really showed up best intentions, so excited, and I think we were on our best behavior, and I'm glad that we were because the story of Akhnaten is so unique, special, and there's a lot of coziness in it. So, Matt, what stood out to you overall that you found cozy? Was the music, the composition, the sets, or all three?
I would say the experience of seeing Akhnaten was very cozy, although the show itself is so big and grand. It kind of like escapes the cozy confines and has this like kind of broad, it's a large show. Like it really wants you to think about big things. And Philip Glass's trademark swirling strings and repetitive rhythms are absolutely hypnotic. There's no better word for it. And the sets and costumes are monumental. The first act in particular, So this is a stage. It has 3 different layers to it, in addition to players being on the stage in front of the 3-layered set. So there's a lot of people, a lot of levels. So there's a lot to look at as an audience member. Like, I was never bored because there were so many things happening on stage. And the music, particularly in the first act, I found that music to be just so beautiful and moving and inspiring. It was just great music. I've been listening to it since we've gone. You can imagine some very dramatic commutes for me, like listening to the Akhnaten soundtrack from the Met that was recorded a few years ago. Especially that's like the funeral of Amenhotep III, the coronation of Akhnaten, and the window of appearances. I love those songs in that first act. But it's not just the music that's hypnotic, it's the movement. The show features a lot of live juggling, which also adds a little bit of tension because you're always watching them be like, are they going to drop it? Like, are they going to catch the ball or the pin? You have these fast moving balls zipping around and rolling around, which is in contrast to a lot of the actors who are moving in slow motion. So there's like a lot of play with movement. And all of it creates this out of body experience when it kicks in. Like, you kind of float above your body as your mind is taking in the spectacle.
You really summed it up beautifully because hypnotic is the perfect word for it and mesmerizing. And this is a compliment to the opera. It made us a little sleepy. And that's because it was such an out of body experience where you're so immersed in the music. And like you said, they're slow and repetitive movements that it overtook you and really calmed the senses. At some points, I did feel as if I was going to fall asleep, but that is a compliment, not a negative. But of course, you were really drawn out of that trance whenever the beautiful costumes appeared. And there was some stunning costumes that, of course, I wish I did have my monocle in that case to see them up close. They were just so brilliant, adorned with so many jewel-like accents and the sparkle and glow from the stage you could still see from that far away, and the designer is Kevin Pollard, so did an incredible job for the LA Opera version. Really amazing stuff. I wish they had some replicas that we could have seen in
Yeah.
the when you first walk into the pavilion, that would have been really great, but still, maybe they'll put them on display after the show's run is done, which actually is happening the day that we're recording this. It's the last show
How
for
fitting.
Akhnaten. Yeah, I know, it really is, and then the next one will be the magic flute, but really amazing stuff, and the colors were so rich and beautiful. The sun disk, this beautiful bright red, orange, and the colors were so magnetic. It's just always something to look at, and man, what a show that was. It felt we were walking high on air, as they say. Is that a
As they
saying?
say.
As they say. We're walking on air.
We were really high up on that air.
She's another one. I always get taken in by these sayings.
No, I agree with you, though. I mean, it was elevating. It was an elevating experience. I agree with you on the costumes. Like, the costumes were gorgeous. I wish we got to see them up close because we did have seats that were in the upper balcony. We could just see them sparkle and shine, which is like why they're designed that way because they read to the back of the house. I agree with you that that disc, the sun, is such a huge piece of the religion that he's trying to start and also of the set design. And there were costumes in the lobby, but they were from a different show. And I do wish they had, like, they're using them. I get that. So they probably don't have any extras lying around, but it would have been cool to see them up close.
Yeah, and as you said, just to top that off, is the jugglers. I was sharing in that nervousness, but they were pros. I bet they can do it in their sleep. So impressive.
Yeah, I really loved in the beginning during the funeral number. When we first meet the jugglers, they have these masks on that resemble all the different gods in the Egyptian pantheon. And when they move, they're moving basically the way that Egyptian hieroglyphics look in terms of their body movements. And they shift between those like very like stark, defined movements while juggling. It's like a really incredible mixture of dance and juggling, which it's just an odd thing to say. Like, we went to the opera and we saw a lot of juggling, but apparently that was also like a thing that they would do in ancient Egypt. I think that was part of what they were trying to tie in was that ancient form of entertainment into something more modern.
Yeah, and I thought they blended those two spaces really beautifully. So if you also are into ancient Egypt history, that this would be for you.
Yeah.
Well, outside of the actual opera itself, what did you think of the mechanics and rhythm of the intermissions and leaving the show?
Well, those intermissions were absolutely essential. First of all, we needed to get our, as we referred to it often on that day, our sauce, aka our
Hmm.
rosé or wine. So every intermission, we'd make a beeline to the bar.
And
So
get our
just, oh
$40,
my God, I don't want to think
three
about it. But
ounces.
anyway, but that was very nice. It was a nice break. We were roused from our hypnosis and reset for the next act. And I really love that structure of frequent breaks because it made the opera surprisingly social. There were plenty of opportunities to chat. We went out to the outdoor balcony to get some fresh air, digest what we saw, and be refreshed before the next round.
Yeah, to digest what you saw, I think was the best part for me because as I was sitting there, I was like, I wonder what Matt's thinking about this. Like, is he thinking the same way I'm feeling about this? Because there were some lulls in the acts and there were some real big highs where I was like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
really locked in. And I was curious how you were thinking about it. So it's nice that we didn't have to wait till the end of the show because I often forget what points I want to talk about if it's that
Hmm.
long of time. And then just to see everyone abuzz, everyone was so lively. Everyone was excited to be there. And like you said, little groups of chatter and us just getting to explore the space. That was really nice too. And I liked how they did the dings of, oh, you better get back in your seats. I like the militant aspect of it. I feel like kind of know what to expect.
You have to really follow the rules because they will not let you back into that theater once
No.
time is up.
No, and Matt could sense my anxiety even getting there because they sent you like 800 emails before the show. We will not let you in if you're a minute late. And they did not really stick to that in the beginning, I will say. I think the show started maybe like at 2:03 or something. So,
It's not worth, I think, handling all the meltdowns, though people would have you have to have a little grace to get through, I think.
right, right. I guess at my opera, I'd be shutting those doors. But yeah, we made it on time, and that also takes out the anxiety of, "When should I get back to my seat? Oh, am I gonna miss something?" Like, you knew exactly,
Right.
when to go, and
They had,
then
like, a Pavlovian response with us. It was like, "Ring that bell, we're running
we're
back to our
running.
seats."
Yeah. And also the elevators too, because we took the elevators down to the
Mhm.
balcony, or we took the stairs, I don't remember, but they have someone operating the
Yeah,
elevator.
it's very
It's
old-fashioned that way.
interesting. Yeah, so everything felt old-fashioned, but a good way to socialize. So now that we are opera pros, or we're getting there, what opera are you interested to see next, or would you even want to see another one?
Well, I would be interested to see the other 2 Operas and Glasses portrait trilogy. So, apparently, Akhnaten is, like, the 3rd in Philip Glass's, like so there's Einstein on the Beach, Satyagraha, or it's the one for about Gandhi. I'm sure I'm butchering that, my apologies. And then the 3rd one is Akhnaten. And they're all about people who revolutionized the thoughts and events of their time through inner vision, Akhnaten being chosen as the man of religion because he, as you mentioned, like, changes it from and this happened in Egyptian history, from the polytheistic worship that we're used to with, like, Anubis and all these other different gods, to a focus on Aten, or really Ra, like the sun god, the sun disk. I might be mushing together 2 different gods there, but one of them is the main focus, and that was really iconoclastic at the time, and then we all know King Tut because of the artifacts that resurfaced in such great condition, but King Tut is Akhenaten's son and took over rule after his death. And in fact, there might even be evidence that they co-ruled, apparently, because it wasn't uncommon for pharaohs to rule together. And they all die really quickly. They're all pretty young when they die. But anyway, and the events of the opera are loosely based on this, mind you. But you do see King Tut at the end take the throne. Anyway, so seeing all the other ones in that series, I think would be great. And in fact, that's kind of the intention is like Philip Glass wants you to see them all in 1 week if you can. That would be quite a, I don't know what opera is putting on like all 3 of those shows at the same time, but if it ever happened, that'd be really cool. And while I'm on that, just a little bit of an aside. In the revolutionary spirit of this like iconoclastic ruler who like changed the religion so drastically and was very hated as a result of that, and these artifacts were later desecrated and the temples that Akhenaten built were razed, and he's later referred to like in other historical records as like the like betrayer pharaoh or like a traitor. He's performed by a countertenor, which is a male singer singing in a falsetto who often sings higher than his female counterparts. And I'll confess, when the lead started singing, I was looking at the women on the stage because there's Nefertiti, and then there's his mom is also, I forget the name of that character.
Ty?
Yeah, that's right. And when you start singing, I was like looking at them being like, why aren't their mouths moving? But it evokes the otherworldly ambitions of Akhnaten and reflects his unique and singular vision. I just wanted to mention like that uniqueness of a countertenor male singer, like as the lead, versus you think of like a male opera singer as like a very deep voice typically. At least that was like my preconception, and that was really subverted those expectations in the show. Sorry, I went off track there, but
No, that's a really insightful side note. That's yeah, it'd be really interesting for folks listening, I think.
in addition to seeing the rest of the Portrait Children by Glass, LA Opera is doing Verdi's Falstaff next, and I think after the Magic Flute, like you mentioned. And I would love to see an operatic comedy like Falstaff, so I'm tempted to get tickets to that.
Yeah, and I think I'm going off that same energy by choosing the Magic Flute because even though it's a very famous opera and it's one of the oldest operas from Mozart, this reimagined take from directors Suzanne Onrand and Barry Kosky feels really fresh, fun, and playful. I looked at the trailer. It's coming to the Opera House in May. And wow, what a feast for the eyes. And the pacing seems really quick. And although I did the hypnotic and meditative vibe of Akhnaten, I am excited to see an opera in a different speed, if you will. And I
Mhm.
think that maybe falls into your pick of Falstaff, even though I know the pacing of that, but the comedy, it's just a different view of the opera. And so I also love just the kind of like fairy tale-esque aspect of
Yeah, for
the Magic
sure,
Flute.
yeah. It
You're
sounds like we
scratching
should
my
just be
itch.
buying season tickets at this
Yeah.
point because 'cause we're like, we wanna see the next show and then the next show.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Matt, the big takeaway from this is that we need to go out and do more things that we typically wouldn't do and just expose ourselves to all the art that we're lucky to be close to.
Mhm.
And that's such a gift. And really, at the end of the day, the tickets weren't crazy expensive like you might think. I mean, yeah, granted, we're in the nosebleeds, but I think it's doable, if you budget for it ahead. And it's just something nice to do on a Sunday. And we had a great time. I thought it was super cozy, just not only preparing for the show and getting dressed up and going to lunch beforehand and having our little sauce and just being exposed to something we weren't ever exposed to in this way as adults. I thought it was a lovely time. And Matt, any final words to that end on the opera?
I feel converted to opera. This really lowered the barrier for me in terms of wanting to go and making it feel accessible. So thank you, Jillian, for this wonderful birthday gift. You've cultured me. I'm ready for my cotillion or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm already like looking at the other tickets because you're right. It's actually pretty affordable as far as live performance goes. You can actually get tickets for the LA Opera if you're fine with sitting in the far back. Like those tickets are as low as $33 a seat.
Mhm.
Very attainable. You don't have to spend a lot of money to go. So I will be looking at those $30 tickets
Yeah.
and seeing if I can attend some more opera.
It's safe to say we're thoroughly impressed with the opera. But before our last act, let's dim the lights with the candle review. So I really went all out for this candle and spent a whopping
Whoa, Jillian.
$94.
Okay, so I talked over you because I saw the price on the notes and then I was like blown. I think this might be the most expensive candle that we've ever reviewed on the show. Can you say that again?
$94 because I felt not all season, but some of my last few picks, I really was going to my tried and true, like, oh, the Target $5 bin. And I just wanted something to accompany this episode in a way that felt true. Like, oh, I mean, now we established the opera isn't so expensive. It is
Mhm.
accessible. But, hey, we're going to the opera as a fancy day out. Let me get a candle that reflects that. And to that end, I was looking for opera themed candles, and a lot of them I wasn't really jiving with. It just felt, oh, we're slapping the show name on this candle, but it didn't really reflect the actual opera and evoke the feelings of going to an opera. And this candle that I found, and please bear with me as I try and pronounce the company name, Astaye de Viat. Very fancy, and apparently on Reddit, like, people really like, this is, like, the higher tier of luxury candles, and people collect these, and it's a huge thing, which I didn't know. So, the scent is the opera. That's all it is, just the opera, and this is quite the description, and Matt, if you thought we've seen some zany descriptions before. I think this takes
I'm
the cake.
bracing myself for some Gillian French.
Yeah. God. So this glass candle in opera conjures the splendor of the Palais Garnier. Ballet movements in the Great Hall. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just go through the French as I see it, and then people can can enjoy my interpretations, and that's my
Let's
gift
do
to
it.
you.
I'm here.
Okay. Oh, ballet movements in the Great Hall and shots.
Sure. I don't really know any better than you.
Shots.
I studied Spanish, so
I studied French, so
yeah. Oh, okay. I would say like
shot.
entree chat or
Yeah,
entree chat. I don't know. Pas de deux.
yeah. Entree shots, pas de deux, ronds de jambes. Upon sumptuous parquet floors polished with beeswax, richly upholstered foyers reach to the very roof of the opera, where thick streams of honey are collected from hives that spread the giddying notes of beeswax absolute, made sublime by minute additions of sandalwood and styrax resin. That's a lot going on. I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't know how honey
I
plays
love
into the
that there
opera.
was this like really rich description, all to have us arrive at floor wax.
Giddying notes, Matt. Giddying notes. Anyway, so this has a really great throw, and criticisms of the other candles are that they're too light. So if you're going to spend the money, I would take a safe bet and go for this one because the honey is thick. It is heavy, it's rich. That's really what I'm getting from it. The polished floors of beeswax. Not a lot of anything else, and to be fair, that's really what the scent focuses on, so they hit that honey, they hit the nest of bees, I guess, and
You're buzzing.
you're buzzing, but it's really hard to describe. It's an elevated scent of honey, and it's the perfect candle for spring, so I'm glad that it coincided with this because I really it's a comforting, warm scent, but it's also light enough to complement this new season of freshness and it getting hotter, so I'm glad that I sprung for this. Do I think that I would do it again? Probably not. That's for the rich. But if you really wanna treat yourself, I say go for this one and try this one first because it is a very blanketing scent, and there's something about this reimagining of honey that I find really enjoyable. It's hard to describe what a reimagined honey scent smells like, but rich people honey.
It's definitely fit for a queen bee.
Yeah, I think it's a stinger up. Before the final curtain, let's hit one last high note with some listener shout outs. I'll kick it off from Brandy on Apple Podcast, and Brandy writes, "Love you guys. Matt and Jillian, you two have the coziest, sweetest, most comforting podcast out there. I'm a newer listener, but I've already fallen in love with both of your unique personalities and perspectives. Thank you for bringing so many good tea, book, movie, show, music, and candle recommendations and hygge into my life. Can't wait to see what the new year brings for the show. Y'all are awesome. Also, I would like Julian to know that I have crocheted a plethora of little frogs that have dispersed themselves among my friends and family. I feel that I am fulfilling my frog lover duties." And yep, we have cozy commandos and we have frogger commandos. And I'm glad you're out there doing the Lord's work of crocheting those little frogs. And I would love to see them if you join our Facebook group. Or if you're already in there, please post some. And thank you for your really kind and thorough review. It really means a lot.
Yeah, it does mean a lot. We're croaking up over here at the
Oh,
kindness. Thank you.
yeah.
So we also have some comments from our Spotify. Our Cozy Corner writes, "Thanks for the Spotify love. Spring is in full force here in Santa Barbara. I'm leaning into my flower garden and filling all my vases, soaking up the smell of jasmine and noticing the return of many birds. My dog is enjoying the extra squirrel activity up in our trees, and I love watching my cat nap in all of her special sunny spots." Thank you for creating such a beautiful, cozy scene over at Spotify. We really love all of our listeners everywhere, wherever you listen to it. But what is nice about the Spotify platform is it allows all these comments on each episode and discussion. So that's really cool. And thank you for leaving that. We hope that you're keeping cozy over there in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, we have another Spotify comment from Dane who writes, We need a cozy Spotify playlist. I think that would be absolutely stellar. I also promoted you guys in 2 of my vlogs. Thank you, Dane, for the shout out. And as I wrote back, we do have Spotify playlists. It's on our page. We have a few that are seasonal and a few are more general, but you can find them on our Spotify page under playlist.
Yep. Now that's what we call cozy music.
Yeah. So enjoy. And also, too, just a small note: if you leave us a comment and you don't get shout out on the upcoming episode, it's because just our recording schedule. So you might have to wait a little bit, but we do shout out every comment and at least the nice ones. So we'll get to everyone. Now that we've shouted out some amazing cozies and put Timothy Chalamet in his place, it's time to take our final vow for this episode. We'll have a new episode for you in 2 weeks. Until then, stay cozy.